Welcome back to episode 3.
That's a three.
Oh, Let the Boys Watch, a entertainment podcast brought to you by Going Great Productions. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Robbie, alongside the man who was fashionably late to Connor's wedding, cousin Benny.
Good morning.
How are we? And the man who was looking for the best airline doctors in the world, one of our co-hosts, our good buddy Ryan.
Oh man, I asked Jess to get me the best airline doctor in the world now. So yeah, welcome to Let the Boys Watch, an entertainment podcast. Like Robbie said, we are discussing Succession season 4 right now, and after that, we'll see what happens. But today's episode is on episode 3 of Succession season 4, called Connor's Wedding. It was a big episode, according to the internet. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it is currently sitting at a 9.9 on IMDb after about 7,000 ratings. That's pretty
Wow.
fucking high.
I was checking it last night because I know that's what you like to go off of, and it was at 9.6 as soon as the episode ended for me.
Wow.
And then by the time I went to sleep, it was like 9.9, and I famously go to sleep very late.
Yeah.
But it was only like 600 ratings. So I was like, I'd probably dip a little bit, but to hear it's still rocking 9.9 with 7,000, that's pretty crazy.
Wild.
Ryan, I know you wanted to do a plums rating. I know you discussed it privately. How many out of 10 plums, what would you give this episode?
Um, 7.8 plums.
Oh, that's tough, buddy.
Babe, that's low.
I know. We'll get into it.
Okay, all right.
But by the end of this episode, it might be up to 9.4. We'll see.
It
All
better
right.
be.
Yeah, okay. So what were you guys' overall impressions? Should we get it? Well, you know what? Actually, before we get into that, really quick,
Okay,
did get a couple emails. I don't know if you guys saw this.
you
Did you
did.
did.
So why don't we read one email? We'll talk about our overall impressions, and then we'll read the other ones because they're a little more, I think, appropriate for this episode specifically. So let me just pull that up quickly. All right, because this one is from a few days ago, and it's from Proud Mary too. Big fan of Going Gray.
Hello.
Hey, Bean, too.
And she says, "Hi, LTBW. Welcome, Benny. I am really
Hello.
enjoying listening. Hello. I'm really enjoying listening to your recaps. Your thoughts and insights help not only my deeper understanding, but my recall of the details of the episode, like a book talk for TV. That's right. Should call this book club. Only
Love
two
it.
episodes in, and I'm enjoying this season better than any other. I agree that Greg and Tom are the highlight with their conversations and their hysterical view of things. If Santa were a hitman, it's like Jaws. If everyone worked for Jaws, cracked me up and were perfect and funny descriptions of what they were witnessing. I felt so bad for Greg when he was trying to break the news to Cruella de Carey. I love it. When I do feel Greg is a lot more savvy than we know yet. Again, although I think Roman has some of the funniest one-liners and twisted comments, he is just so creepy that I'm sure he has a hidden file on his computer that he probably could get him arrested. I believe that file is probably titled Logistics, but
Yeah.
that's maybe Tom. At the end, when he went to see his father, it seemed that Logan was not at all surprised to see him. So I think Roman is definitely playing both sides. Ryan, I get why you hate Kendall. I can imagine hanging with a guy like him and just wanting to get away. But as an onlooker, I just feel sorry for him. He's been so beaten down, his self esteem is non existent. He's always trying to prove he is ruthless, cool, or likable, but to annoying and awkward results. You talking about me or Kendall? I
Is it
agree.
hitting close to home?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, she knows me better than anyone, right?
Allegedly.
I I agree Shiv is pushing the deal out of anger. She has longstanding rage and emotions all tied up together, resulting in much deeper resentment of her father. By the way, did any of you notice she is pregnant in real life? I suspected it, so I looked up and she is indeed expecting. I wonder if they'll work it into the show. Maybe a reason for her and Tom to reconcile? Question mark. Keep chatting, boys. Love it. Love Proud Mary too. Well, as usual, love you too, and appreciate the email. And good, yeah, good kind of recap of what we talked about last week. And I think it's funny because as I was reading this email, it like almost like none of this stuff like mattered right now because of what happened in episode 3. It's like stuff was going along and this was just a huge speed bump, and now we're like
Yeah.
recalibrating and a lot of things are changing. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
like you said, man, like everything has reset now, and some of those little plot lines that you thought were important or were going to be important like don't matter anymore. I thought it was
Right.
such a good point too that you brought up where she was thinking about, was Roman always kind of playing both sides?
Right.
And they kind of alluded to that a little bit last week.
Yep.
With him reaching out to him, was there more stuff going on behind the scenes? We don't know. Maybe we'll find out, or maybe it just doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, and didn't Kendall also say something like we were all like talking to like I know he said like we had a family function, we're not estranged, but I thought I remember him saying something like we were all talking to people or something like that. Am I misremembering?
I think you maybe just the night at the karaoke party. I think
Maybe.
that's what that he was talking about. That they just were at a family function. So I think
No,
that's.
yeah. Yeah, I know
But
that. I
I don't
thought
know if they were all talking. I'm not sure. I don't
Well,
I don't
think
know.
so.
he said in the episode we've all had communications with
Yeah,
Logan,
that maybe that was it and I kind
but
of
I think
thought
that whole kind of statement was like, just covering their ass on how the
yes.
relationship looked with Logan at that point, because I
Yeah.
think the estranged thing wouldn't have played well.
Yeah, and
So I think that was him running a little corporate PR there.
I think you're right, actually. I think what I'm thinking of is when he first started saying that, I was like, oh shit, see, they were. But then as kept going, I was like, oh, he's just covering as his ass because of he explains it later. Like people are gonna look back at this and may judge us for how we're acting and what we're doing.
Yeah.
So like at least he did do some good this episode and was the only one to think of this type of shit. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Who wants to go first? What were your
Ro-
overall impressions?
Robbie, lead us off.
Oh, I thought it was one of the best episodes of the entire series. I think definitely in my top three of all time. I think it was fantastically written. I didn't think it was gonna be this type of episode, but I did when I saw that Jesse Armstrong wrote it and Mark Mylan he directed. I was like, I know something is up. I didn't know to this extent, but I feel like you always get that kind of vibe when like that creator of the show or the head writer of the show is writing the episode of something big's gonna go down, similar to like Game of Thrones with George R. R. Martin and things like that. But I
Brought
mean,
in the heavy hitters,
yeah,
yeah.
when you bring in the heavy hitters, I mean, but I didn't expect it to go down this early. I know we all had over unders when he was going to die because we knew that was inevitable, like what episode. But I mean, dude, the performances by everybody, the way it was shot, like you were in the room with everybody. I just thought everybody brought their A+ game. I thought it was one of the greatest episodes. I think, like I said, of all time, I think it's one of the best hours of television I've seen in the past 20 years, if not all time. And I was into it from the very beginning. I thought it was for show. I didn't think he was dead. I was just the way, like, I don't want to go into the entire detail of the episode, but just the way, like, I was grieving. I was in shock for an entire hour when it ended, bro. I needed to like decompress for like an hour because I was completely in shock. The way they shot the death was like any I haven't seen it on television in a while, if ever.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I said
The fuck? You guys are frozen. Can you hear me?
let me just stop my video real quick. Hold on, let me see if that helps.
Yeah, was that motherfucker? Can you guys hear me?
I can see all
Can you
you
hear
guys.
me?
I can hear everybody and see Benny.
All right. I don't know what that was.
All right,
We'll
can you hear me?
we'll take care of it in post.
Okay. So
But yeah,
yeah,
Benny, what'd you think?
I agree with everything with Robbie was saying. to me, it was like one of the best episodes of TV ever. I think, bar none. I said on our preview episode, like, while I love Succession and I think it's such a great show, it wasn't cracking my top five. I honestly think this episode alone is going to put it in contention to like one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Like, if they stick this
Wow.
landing on the next 7 episodes, and like this, it just comes to as great of a conclusion as this season has got off to such a hot start, then I think it's just going to propel the series into, like GOAT status. It was just like, I don't want to repeat everything Robbie said, but every single acting performance, all, the fact that they shot that scene where they find out, or and they're finding out, as like kind of a one take play, fantastic. Just everything about this episode to me was just perfect, top to bottom.
Nice. Yeah. Well, like I said before, I I said I gave this 7.8 plums. But overall, this series for me doesn't really get much higher than that. This is one of the best episodes of this series for me. So out of this series, it's, in the nines. And I think you might be right, though. Like, my opinion could definitely change if they really stick the landing from now until the end of the season and end of the series based on the trailer that they had. And I'm not going to get into it because I know, Benny, you don't typically like to watch them, but like, it looks like we said before, this is a complete reset, but with all the players still here, except for Logan, of course. And they really could, like, for my own opinion, like really propel the show into like a higher tier of show for me.
Yeah.
So I hope they do. I mean, I want to be entertained, but just most of this series, most episodes, I'm like, I liked it, but I didn't love it. That's how I felt about almost every episode. This episode was one of definitely the better of the entire series. Um, but it's still, I'm still, jury's out for me. I hate to not have like specific instances of why I feel this way, but I just do. I don't know.
To me, honestly, man, a little bit again what Robbie was saying. Like, I felt like I was on the edge of my seat the whole entire episode. And this, I mean, not that they gave anything like this away in any of the trailers. I mean, like I said, obviously we knew this was coming,
Right.
but the fact that I had no idea that this was going to be the episode where he died is like the reason I don't like to watch trailers. I like to go in blind to everything, because if I would have kind of knew it was happening, I felt when I watched the episode again, it didn't, carry that same edge of my seat. It was still, like I said, that all the performances were fantastic, but
Mm-hmm.
just that first watch of like, is this a ploy? Is he going to make it out? And
Right.
then like the longer and longer they're going with the chest compressions and the CPR and the defibrillator, you're like, even if he does come back, man, it's either going to be a terrible plot point because he's like dead for 15, 20 minutes, or he comes back as a vegetable and he's gone anyway. So
Right.
like that slow realization, where you're not really seeing him, where everyone's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. To me, I just thought I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Right. Definitely.
And if you
And
noticed,
go ahead,
sorry,
Rob.
if you notice, I mean, I read it obviously, but I never caught it. But like the poster for the season, right? Like, you analyze the poster, you're looking like this. There is a plane in the skyscraper,
Right.
Yeah.
and like obviously, I think it was a Shiv's character, Sarah Snook, that said, once you see it, and you like, obviously when you see this episode and you see the plane, then you know. But those little subtle, like, little Easter eggs they drop in there. So I would have never known. I had no idea there was a plane even in there. So it's funny stuff like that I love.
Yeah,
Right.
you said when they dropped the poster, everybody on Reddit was like trying to pick something out. Like, oh, Logan's looking at his watch. That means his time's up.
Yeah.
Everybody's staring at Logan except Greg. Like, what does that mean? And then it's just that little thing off at the top of the poster that ends up being like the big Easter egg. And bonus points for having the Easter egg land on Easter.
There you go.
Fantastically done.
And I wouldn't be shocked if there's more Easter eggs in that poster that we
Yeah.
have yet to find out. So yeah, before we get, because I think we're heading down that road, and we could. Do you guys want to read the other two emails that we got and then get into like the episode itself, or?
Yeah,
Sure,
let's get right
I'll
now.
read Michelle's because it's the shortest one, and I hate reading out loud. So this is from sister of the pod and cousin of the pod,
Oh,
Michelle.
Hello.
Last name redacted. Subject dot 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 dot. Michelle says, "WTF? I am done with Succession. How am I going to watch the rest of the season now? I figured that would happen, but I thought maybe the last episode of the season. Do you think Tom is going to screw with Roman and tell the other siblings that he was working with his dad at the end? Or will he dangle it over his head like a carrot? I'll never know because I'm done watching the show." Michelle. Yeah, that's definitely the one little thing I saw from a trailer at one point, like when I was looking up or, didn't turn the trailer off in time, was seeing Roman get slammed up against the wall by Kendall, I think it was. So there's definitely going to be a lot of fighting coming. And I could see that, Tom seems kind of cornered. Like he feels cornered now because he lost his protector, he says.
yep.
So he definitely has some cards to play, and that I could definitely see that being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I'm just thinking out loud a little bit here, but it's basically like if Logan was sitting in a doesn't matter, sitting in a room, and he had, I don't know, $1 million in front of him. The kids are gonna come and like try to get it from him, try to sweet talk him, grovel. I don't know, whatever they're trying to do to get that money from Logan. But you take Logan out of that room and then just keep the $1 million on the floor, they're going to come in and probably fight for it instead of like, I don't know, whatever else they were trying to do or split it favorably or whatever. Like, I'm sure there's potentially going to be a lot of conflict in the next couple episodes.
Yeah, agreed.
Robbie, do you want to
Yes.
read Brian's, or?
Yeah, I could read Brian's.
You are the best reader, the resident best reader of the podcast.
Thank you. It was not being gifted and talented that spurned me for all this year, so I had to get ready for it. This one comes from a friend of the program, brother-in-law of the program, and just an overall gem of a human. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the title of his email is "Logan is dead."
Oh boy,
So
really?
yeah, well, I think so.
Shit.
He says, "Hi guys, another great episode last night. At first, I was very angry that they killed off Logan this early in the season, but I let it sink in and I began to feel better about it. I'm obviously going to miss such a great character, but I think this will be good for the plot and narrative of the show. I love Succession, but sometimes it does get to the point of being borderline redundant with plot lines seemingly repeating themselves. I agree. This opens up a whole new window of possibilities. How will the siblings handle it? Question mark. Will they stick together or fight for sole possession of the throne? Question mark. How will Tom and Greg maneuver themselves into a position where they can remain part of the future of the company? They obviously betrayed the kids at the end of the last season, so what will their next move? So what will be their next move? Is Jerry really fired? Yeah, Jerry, can you take a hint or what? Uh, will the deal with Gojo still go down? There are so many directions this show can go in the final episode that weren't possible if Logan was still alive. So as much as his presence on the show will be missed, Logan's death was a nice catalyst for the future of this final season. Also, I like the way they handled his death. It wasn't some predictable and touching send-off in the season finale where everyone got to say their goodbyes and tell him that they loved him and he told them he was proud of them. As it can be in life, his death was sudden and unexpected. The kids were left with regret and sadness about how they handled their final interaction with him. I think Roman never called it. I think Roman even called him a cunt in his voicemail early in the episode.
Yep.
That he did. This gave his death a feeling of authenticity and realness. I'm excited to see how his death shapes the rest of the show. I don't really have a specific prediction for the rest of the show, but I think the kids will be tested by others in the business world. I think everyone around them will assume that they can walk all over the kids and take advantage of them because the father is no longer around to be a safety net and step in when things get dicey. They're going to need to step up big time. I'm hoping the death of Logan brings the kid closer and forces them to work together, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. That would be too neat and tidy. Things are going to be messy, and I can't wait to watch it all unfold. Well,
Yeah,
Brian.
great email.
Great email.
Yeah, great email as usual. Thank you. I read it all and had a burp at the end, so thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I thought he
We
wrote that in,
appreciate
and
it.
you were just a fantastic actor.
No, yeah. I, I was holding my burping for the last, 6 or 7 paragraphs. But yeah. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Always love your insight. You always bring the heavy hitters and the wisdom. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
What do you think the conversation was like between them? I'm done
At that,
watching this show.
Brian was like,
No,
Yeah,
"Well,
it's great.
I'll watch it without you."
yeah. He was like, "Thank God you don't have to fall asleep during the episode." No,
I, I,
she was just upset and angry that they did, and I guess the same with him. But I mean, I think after like thinking about it, and I think episode 3, it's kind of the perfect. Like they said, you couldn't really do it in like episode 9,
Right.
right? Where's the show going to go for one episode? Like this sets it
yeah,
That
up.
would be cheesy.
Now, yeah, now you're bringing Matson. Now you're bringing whatever that presidential candidate's name is, and you have a lot of plot and scheming going on in the final 7 episodes. So I think ultimately, obviously, I think it was a good decision to kill him off this early.
I hate to dunk on Game of Thrones, but like that that was always the problem with Game of Thrones, where like, okay, all this stuff happens in 9 and 10,
Right.
and you're just like tying up loose ends very quickly. And doing this in episode 3, all those questions that Brian brought up, like there's so much time to figure it all out, and it's not like you don't think things are going to get abandoned because there's so much time left that you would assume all of those questions are going to get answered, or at least we're going to get a final resolution or like a final answer to all these things that we want to know.
Agree.
And like, sorry, I don't want to like I guess interject with this episode going forward, but to bring up a point of his, it's so true. Like this is represents his death kind of represents actual real life, right? Like you can you can say, "I hate you, Dad," and then the next day, either one of you could be gone.
Right.
It's not like a sappy like, "Oh my God, Dad's dying. Let's go. Let's all go." And he's got 10 hours to live, and let's go. Like, no, this is like the reality of life. Like people, there is a lot of like regret with death, and there is a lot of things that happen. And I think that the way they did it, not showing him, you know, they showed him dying, but not showing you like what led up to his death, right?
Right.
And they showed you the regret and everything that that happens and what real life is all about. And that's why I think I didn't say enjoy his death, but I think that's why I appreciated this so much more than like a Game of Thrones. But as far as shock factor, it is up there with like Game of Thrones and Red Wedding and Purple Wedding and all that stuff.
Is this the
I think
green wedding?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
green
like
for
that when you
money?
said that. Yeah, I like when you said that. To me too, it's like you almost got to look at the last 2 episodes almost as like one long episode, because that last scene with Logan, man, like looking back on it now, everything, the script completely flipped, where Logan was like, not that he was sappy, but that hardness he had towards his kids was gone. Not that he knew this was coming, but the last interaction he has with Shiv and Kendall is them shitting on him and being like, "No, fuck you, fuck your apology. You don't even know what you're apologizing for." So that's their last interaction with him.
Right.
Roman's is that voicemail he left, on his phone. So those 3 siblings, the last, things that they said to their father, whether we don't know if Logan heard the voicemail or not, but in their
Right.
minds, the last thing that they said to him was, basically telling him off.
Right. Just like Roman was saying, but we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know if he listened to that voicemail.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's dead.
Yeah.
um, should we kind of go back to maybe the beginning of the episode, or should we just kind of keep going with Logan and jump back?
Why don't we start from the top?
All right. Um, did you watch it twice, Benny?
I did watch it twice.
Nice. So I believe, let me look at my notes here. So did it open up with like in the car, Logan calls Roman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Logan calls Roman and tells him it's time to fire Jerry. But I thought the interesting part of this scene was that Logan was like super nice and like almost like not jokey, but like a little bit, like kind of just like, yeah, so I think it's time. You could handle that, right? Like, and then as Roman was like, kind of like, I don't know if you sure? He was just like, listen, fuckface, do it, and let
Yeah.
us know when you do it, right?
Yeah, I think that I mean maybe something did change with Logan a little bit where he's like,
Maybe.
let me try to give them a little bit of a chance. And Roman breaking away from the other kids to come talk to him. Maybe he's like, all right, maybe this is
Maybe
my
this
guy.
works.
Yeah, maybe let me try a little different tact with him. But as soon as he gets any type of pushback or he feels the Roman being weak, he turns back into the old Logan super quick.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know, I guess I think it was a little bit different, like perspective. But I just think that he was just again using Roman in a situation to because he knows that tense relationship between him and Jerry, and the dick pics and all those things like that. And I kind of knew how hard it would be for Roman to deliver the news to Jerry because of their, past relationships and things like that. And I was just thinking it was another way for Logan, R.I.P. to the God, but to use Roman in that scene as
Well,
far
like,
as
do you think like, yeah, use them for sure, but also like fuck with them? Is
I
that what you're
think,
saying?
yeah, I think part of it was just to fuck with him and make him feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
and kind of just provoke him because even I might drop my phone, but even on the voicemail, Roman he does call him a cunt, but Roman's just like come on, man, like are you fucking with me? Like are you just still fucking with me and using me to do this shit and just putting him in a shitty position? So I don't know. I don't like to talk ill about the dead, but I think that he was he was again just fucking with his son. I think he knew he was the only one that he could just kind of just reel back in, and that was my little tidbit of the week.
To your point, like he never, when the kids fuck him over or do something to try to hurt him or go behind his back, he never like punishes them in the moment. Like he finds a way to like kind of turn the screws on them and like do something even more evil. And I guess this is kind of his moment with Rogan, like Roman with like the dick pics, where that pissed him off. And he's like, all right, I see my opportunity now to like, you know, give him hell. And this was, like you said, to your point, this is his way of fucking with him.
It's like the long con. Instead of like blowing up at him, he's just like, all right, I'll file this for later and I'll just fuck with him for the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like the same thing with Kendall, with that when him killing that kid, he had that in his back pocket, and he played the long game with him, and he's boys,
Exactly.
he got
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yep.
true. I wonder, did he have anything with Shiv? Like, I don't know, their her and Tom's marriage falling apart. I don't know if he really like
I
had anything on her.
I think he had like
Some
maybe her
political shit.
like her butt was just so nice and juicy, so he could hold that against her.
But well, I mean, I guess the sin would have been her cutting him off, and then he ends up helping Tom with a divorce.
Yeah, true. True. But yeah, so they after that call, Logan, they arrive at the airport. And Logan's still kind of talking about like what he wants to do. He wants to get, leaner, meaner, more aggressive. And that's really the last line we hear from Logan, is uh to be more aggressive. So it's just interesting. Like you said, I think Robbie and Benny, maybe both of you said it was just like everything leading up to this, and we'll talk about it more later, but it was just like kind of perfectly written. But
Yeah, I think too. We get that moment where he tells Tom he's going to fire Sid, and basically
oh
Tom's going to
yeah, yeah,
be the
yeah,
head
you're
of
right.
ATN. So
Yep.
Jerry and Sid, the two people I said lost last week,
Yeah.
almost were the biggest losers. If there are any winners this week from Logan dying, it might be them. Save both their jobs.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, who knows what, like, because it's clear that, like, so what, like, Frank, Carolina, Roman, Jerry herself, and maybe like one, and Kerry, I guess, but like, it
Gary.
wasn't like widely known that Jerry was going to get fired, I don't think.
Yeah. Carl, my guy Carl knew.
Yeah, Carl.
Oh man, great episode.
So after that, I think the next scene is them getting on the boat. So planes,
Does
trains, and automobiles over here.
yeah? Does was that the same scene where Greg calls Tom? I mean, Tom calls Greg
Yeah, with the Greglets.
the Gregless.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yeah, the Greglets, my little Gregs.
I like Tom, man, but he could just be a big mean piece of shit to Greg, man, for no reason sometimes.
Well, he knows too that, if Logan it doesn't like him, then he's gonna stay the hell away from him, because at the end of the day, as much as Tom might, have his little arm around Greg's shoulder and helping him along, if Logan's pissed at him, Tom wants something to do with him.
Yeah,
What
that
did
is
he
true.
call him? Visually unappealing or something?
Yeah, visually repulsive or something like that.
Something like that. So good. Stupid Greg. But yeah, no, that was good. So yeah, the next scene is them getting on the boat for Connor's wedding, which is the episode title's Connor's wedding, so we're
I love
expecting
that.
a spectacle. Yeah, love that. HBO and weddings. Match made in heaven. Um, so they're getting on the boat, and I think this is where we start seeing. Was this when they first already started with the cake with Connor?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
he goes to talk to, I think, Willa's mom, and then the next thing we see
yes,
from Connor is him seeing that there's a problem with the cake. He doesn't want it served. They can keep it on display only,
loony
but he
cake.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't want to see, what is it? I forget what he says. He doesn't want to see the inside of it. I forget how he
Yeah,
put
yeah,
it.
yeah, something like that. So, and then we get a little more insight into Connor's, I guess, psyche about the fact that he ate cake for Victorian sponge for a week after they sent his mom away or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
something like that.
crazy how much work they can do on his backstory in like 15 seconds, and you're like, oh
And
wow.
yeah,
Like that he went from being like just like the spoiled rich kid at his wedding to like sympathetic in like 10 seconds of dialogue.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think that comes also with the combination of what he said last week,
Yeah.
Connor. Sorry, Robbie, were you gonna say something?
no, I was gonna say, you're like, all right, what, like, dude, it's cake. Like, what's your deal? And then fucking 15 minutes later, you're like, oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I get it.
that's why
Yeah,
deep-seated childhood trauma.
that's it. Yep, exactly. So you get it right then and there. I love that.
Um, so they're on the boat, they're fucking around. I don't think much else happens.
So
One
Jerry,
Yeah, oh Jerry, that's right. So Roman sees Jerry and he awkwardly lets it spill that she's getting fired.
first off, shout out Jerry with the fantastic side hat, looking like a snack.
Oh yeah. I love like I said on Going Gray, I love a hat.
She looked good. She was looking good. She had a younger man as a side piece, and she was rocking and rolling until she was about to get fired.
I
Yeah.
have a question. If you got on a boat and it was a company function and someone told you you're gonna get fired, wouldn't you get off that boat?
Oh yeah, I'd be out
I'd be
I'm
100%.
gone.
fucking
Yeah,
off that boat because then
I
you're
am gone.
trapped.
Yeah, I'd be breaking glasses. I guess I don't know, man, because it's not like she's tight with Connor and she's like, well, I'm gonna just stay for Connor because we're such
I
good
don't know.
friends. It is a little
Maybe
bit weird that she ends up staying, but
right. Maybe she figured like, well, Roman's kind of a fucking idiot, so maybe he is not like he's not correct or like he misunderstood what was said or like so what maybe there's like in her mind like a glimmer of hope that like Roman's lying. Like maybe from their past he's just fucking with her to try to get a reaction out of her or something. Um, so maybe that's what she's just like. I'll just see how this plays out. It's
yeah,
not, it's only like 3 hours of my life. I'll fucking figure it out.
yeah. Or Logan could change his mind,
Right.
something.
Yeah. True.
Like Roman can like talk Logan out of it or something like that. But she's just like, okay, I don't care. I'm fine. This is nothing.
Yeah. You little
So,
creep.
and I mean, just great. I mean, Kieran Culkin, fantastic acting. I mean, the whole season, the whole series, with this episode, man, just everything about what he was doing was great.
Yeah, this was a great episode for him. I mean, for everybody, but yeah, he was
You
great,
just
man.
you felt the awkwardness, like when he was trying to tell her
Yeah.
that she was fired, and then he goes right into that phone call that we mentioned earlier, and he does a good job with that too.
Yep. Um, which did you guys notice that Tom tried to call Shiv first?
Yeah, twice she hit the fuck
Twice.
you button.
Yeah.
The FU button. Is the
Well,
FU button the hang up button or the silence button?
I think it's the hang up button when you double click it. You
Yeah.
silence it and then you hang up.
Yeah, that is the FU button. If you call someone and it rings like more at all, like once or twice, and it goes to voicemail, you're like, ah, they fucking hung up on me.
Yeah, that
well,
was
what's
purposeful.
yeah, what's more than an FU than having your husband's first and last name in your phone?
That's true.
Yeah,
Is that kind of
yeah,
is that not a cuck is what that's a tough one right there, I think.
yeah. That's keeping him at arm's length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if the only thing worse would be do not answer.
Dickhead.
yeah, pencil dick.
Yeah. So Tom does get in touch with Roman and like I think we all said, but I'm pretty sure Robbie especially said um how initially it was almost like, is this even real? Like, what is going on? Like, is Logan fucking with them? What's the deal here? Um, because it was just like very chaotic. They weren't showing Logan's body really. And I feel like as the whole scene plays out, it's so good because it's how most like real life deaths probably occur. Like there's no like one of you said something like Game of Thrones where it's like someone gets stabbed and they're like,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm dying. Oh, say my
Yeah,
last words and
yeah.
strike a pose and this and that. Like it was so like you don't see that happening, and Tom doesn't know what's going on, and Roman starts flipping out, Kendall starts flipping out. What do you guys think about this, the beginning of this whole scene?
Robbie.
Oh boy, that was like you said, dude. I was like, is this a fucking joke? Like
That's what
for a
I
good
thought.
honestly, dude, for like a good 15 minutes when this was playing out, I'm like, this is a fucking joke.
Like he's testing them.
Yeah, he's gonna do something like supplies. I'm here. It's a joke. I'm in the bedroom of the wedding. But no man, that was just I don't know. It's like you said, it wasn't I keep on saying it, but it wasn't like any death that I've seen on a television show. And it stuck me right from the beginning. Like I was like even Benny said earlier, like I was just on the edge of my seat. And it was just such like an intense scene. And I obviously credit that to the way it was shot. I mean, the way that entire scene was shot and directed was just meant for you to be right in there and feel the intensity and feel the uncertainty and feel like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on? And then the way I even love, dude, the the phone call breaking in and breaking out.
I was gonna
I
bring that
love,
Yeah.
up.
yeah, I love
Yep.
that. And you're like, what the, and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck's he saying? What's going on? So I could just like, it was a great scene. I mean, for a show that's just yeah, about corporate business and family fuck ups, it was one of the most intense scenes. And like I brought up Game of Thrones, like it was on an intense Game of Thrones esque level. That those first like that entire episode, or even like that 30 minutes of what was playing out.
Right. And it's funny you bring up like other shows. I feel like almost every other show, if they did a death scene like this, the fans would be like all pissed off. They'd be like, "You didn't see him fucking die. Is he really dead? It's probably, like whatever." Like, but that's really how most deaths in real life occur. Like, we're not all gonna get last moments and like last words and striking poses and shit. It's gonna be on a plane in the bathroom, maybe
Yeah.
maybe getting blown by Carrie. We don't know.
Hey, I'll take that.
I think
Benny, what'd
too.
you
I
think?
mean, to both your points. I mean, in any other show, if you killed off, this main player in the third, I mean, besides Game of Thrones, but like you killed off this character in the third episode of the final season with so much left, there would be, at least 25 to 40% of the people like that was stupid. Why they do it so early? They didn't to do that. But everybody is like in agreement with how, it was shocking, but it was also, what, I could see why this is the perfect time to do it. Um, it's just, I think too, all the groundwork they did in the first three seasons, to the point where everybody had the same reaction as we did to, is he faking his death? Because he's such a dick that you wouldn't put it past him. He wouldn't, like, would Logan fake his death to his kids? Um, so I just think for everybody to be on board with the same feelings is just a credit to the writing. But yeah, just everybody talking over each other, the phone call cutting in and out, it just felt so real. It felt like you were, like Robbie said, in the room, and this is all playing out in front of you because it just felt so realistic. The camera work, and this is kind of what I mentioned earlier, but this is the beginning of that like one take that they did. Like obviously it was cut between different cameras, but they ran like that whole scene on the boat with them finding out, as one take, and they were switching out camera film like in the middle of the take. Did you guys watch the end, like to where they were talking about the episode after?
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
oh sorry, no, I wanted to play off that. I forgot, like that's what I was gonna say too, that like you said, they would just run in camera film. And then
yeah,
like this entire scene, I think like took like 2 weeks to film.
yeah.
Wow.
So just the fact that they did it, all in one take, that big portion, and then obviously they filled in some stuff that, just a credit to all the actors, and you don't even know who to give like the best acting performance in this episode, because obviously Roman, killed it. Kendall killed it. Shiv killed it. Connor, even the little part that he was in, killed it. And you can't
Carrie
even,
killed it.
yeah, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
you can't even say anything about Tom, because like he played that. I can't believe I'm doing this on the phone,
Right.
telling these kids that their father's dead. They're giving him chest compressions 2 feet away from me. I'm putting the phone to this dead guy's head. Everybody just did such an awesome job.
Agree. So Benny, real quick, you watched the the directors and people talking about the episode. Did you then also watch the like in the weeks ahead of Succession, or you skip it or something?
I didn't watch it. No, I skipped it.
Oh,
I
okay.
skipped it.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I have to keep my
If
mouth
you guys
shut
want
on
to
a
talk
few
about
things.
it, I don't want to stop you guys from talking about
Well, there's
anything you
one
think is
thing I want to
interesting.
bring up for it from it. Um, but we could wait till later.
Okay.
Sorry, Robbie, were you saying something?
No, I just want to piggyback off Benny with the Tom thing. I mean, again,
Yeah.
that was just what's his name, Matthew McFadden. That was just a fantastic performance by him. I love that. I mean, yeah, he's slimy and skeezy as you saw in a later episode on the phone call to Greg. But I mean, just being that barrier between the kids and Logan, and just putting the phone up to their ear, and like, and then even I don't think we talked about, but even like them trying to muster the right words to say
Mhm.
to Logan as he's dying, it
Yeah.
was just
Great.
it was just gut wrenching, because you could see the pain in like the years of emotional pain and trauma in them, and then still trying to, you know, say that they love him and don't go and don't die, and even Shiv calling him daddy, don't go, and
Yeah.
things like that. Uh, and even like Roman, man, that was just I don't know, dude. That was just I just love the way he acted that scene. Like he couldn't even like I can't even say anything, and he just hot potatoed the phone to Kendall, who
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, can't forgive you, but I love you. But I mean,
I can
they,
never forgive you.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody just killed it, and I just think it was, again, I keep on saying beautifully acted and written, but it was beautiful, and I loved it.
What you
This
mentioned about Roman, giving the phone up like that, like it's so youngest child, where like, dude, I never have responsibility. Like, I don't know what the fuck to say to
Yeah.
this guy right now in this moment. Like, you take it, because I'm not equipped to handle this moment. Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say great point, but I was just gonna say you mentioned Shiv on the phone when um kind of similarly, like Roman can't go get Shiv and Kendall has to go get her. Is that when he calls her Shivy?
Yeah, he says Shivy honey.
Yeah, Shivy honey, let's go. And like you know, any sibling comes up to you and like you could probably just see the look on their face, like, all right, what the fuck is wrong? But conveniently not present yet. Connor, as usual, when this whole scene was going down, I kept being like, go get fucking Connor. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
I mean,
Fucks.
not even the fact that it's he's a brother. Okay,
Yeah.
like obviously that should be the number one priority, like your brother, but it's his wedding.
Yeah.
And like you should be like, oh fuck, we need to figure out what the hell he's gonna do for his wedding now, because like he's still, even on his own wedding day, he's still the forgotten guy.
I know.
The
What the
fucking
fuck?
episode title is named after him and they still forgot him.
I know. I can't believe them. Like it just I get it, but at the same time it's just like, what the fuck? Go I know you're upset, but go fuck you thought enough to go get Shiv. You could go get
Yeah.
Connor. Stop.
Like, and like, I guess kind of what I was trying to say is like Connor's not out of sight, out of mind in this scene. Like you're at his wedding.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
should be like, he should be in your head. Like you should be thinking about Connor. You're there on a boat for that specific reason. So like to even forget about him in that moment is just so on brand.
So on brand. And I think is this when we get Connor like after this?
I was gonna say before we do Connor,
Yeah.
I want to shout out when Frank and Carl get involved, and I
Is that
thought it
when this
was like,
happens?
I think so. It's like right before they go get Connor
I
is
think you're right.
um Kendall gets on the phone with Frank, and I thought that
I
was
want to
such,
talk to the pilot.
yeah, such a short scene. But when he, you know, Frank is going through the motions with Kendall because he knows Kendall's not in his right mind, so he's going to do whatever he can. But even when he's like, Kendall, he's flying the plane, he's not going to talk to you right now.
Right.
And Kendall's like, no, he will talk. Let me talk to him. And
Okay.
Frank smashes the wall,
Yeah.
but then goes back in and like reassures him. Like I just thought that was such a, again, such, we always talk about like the B players on the show, and for such a short little snippet where he was kind of a central point, he killed it too.
You're
Yeah, he
right.
called it. He's like, or he's doing his job, son. And he even
Yeah.
called even that little son thing. He said I thought that was a good touch. And even not Frank. What the hell's his name?
Carl?
Carl.
Carl. I don't even know if this is in the same scene, but when he sits down, he's like, I'm gonna have a little sweetener.
Or Stiffener, yeah.
Stiffener. What do you
Okay,
say?
yeah.
I think
He
that's later when they start talking about
yeah
drafting
Yeah,
the
but that's a good
messaging.
call though, man. I probably having a drink in that moment is probably a good idea.
yeah
Um, but what I was gonna say, that it made me think about the Frank and Kendall relationship we had at the beginning of the show.
Right.
And we like they had that falling out, like I guess in the middle of season one or the end of season one, and they really haven't spoken since. And that, that was finally a moment that Frank and Kendall kind of had together again, where Frank was looking out for Kendall. Because I feel
Right.
like that was always Frank's want, was to like put his on, take take Kendall under his wing and groom him a little bit and teach him some stuff that he
Right.
wasn't going to get from Logan. So it was nice to kind of see them, even in the shitty circumstance, like kind of go back to that relationship a little bit.
Yeah. Do you
I
think that
think
Frank go ahead, Robbie?
I'm
Sorry.
sorry, no, quick. But I think Frank is Kendall's godfather, I believe.
I think you're right.
So to touch on what you were saying as well, yeah.
Do you think I'm being uh a little too extra, as the kids say right now, and thinking that Frank is already with this like laying groundwork to be like a patriarchal figure? Not patriarchal, that's not the word I want, but like a um su superior figure, like we said earlier, where this group, Frank, Carl, Carolina, Jerry, whoever else, might be kind of like trying to keep the kids as the kids. I think I'm already kind of answering my own question. I don't think he was thinking that in this instance,
No,
but
not in that instance, but I definitely know what you're
when they
talking
start
about.
drafting the message, I
Yeah.
think they're like unspoken, like feeling like, all right, we're fucking steering the ship, even though the name of the ship is the Roy's. We're the
Hmm.
ones steering the ship. Like they're just, passengers screaming.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to your boss tell you about how his kids are fuck ups for the last 40 years,
Right.
and every time he had an opportunity or wanted to name a successor, he wouldn't do it. Um, I think first of all, to get that high in the business world, you're probably a cutthroat person on some level,
Oh
and
yeah.
they see this as an opportunity for them because Jerry's already been talked about as taking over as CEO for a while. Frank's name was in that discussion, so I definitely think you're onto something there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'll talk a little more about that when we get to that scene, but I think we finally get Connor in here. Um, and loved his line. The first thing he says is what was it exactly? Like he never even cared about me, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, he didn't even like me.
He didn't even like me.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I thought it was cool too, man, where he had such a different reaction than all of them,
Right.
where it was like that look. He was almost like not that
Okay.
he didn't, yeah, like not that he wasn't comprehending it, but he was just like stone face, almost like a little angry. And they're like, "We think he's dead." He's like, "Well, is he dead?" Like
Yeah.
but then you kind of also see him not spiral, but it sinks in for him too.
Yeah. I
And he,
think his initial reaction, he didn't say it, but I think his initial reaction was anger because they led with dad's on a plane to Sweden
good point.
instead of coming to your fucking wedding.
Yeah, good point.
Because he kind of had that hope that Logan was going to show up. Like I guess Carrie said, like, oh yeah, maybe he's going to stop by or something or meet us wherever. So his initial reaction might have been anger, like, what the fuck is he on a plane to Sweden for instead of being here? And then maybe that is like what he was thinking, because then he's like he never even liked me like at all, because it was just like he couldn't come to my wedding. This like confirmed it. And then like you said, it started to sink in like shit, my dad's dead.
Yeah.
Fucking kids. Fucking
Robbie is
Yeah, and
one of
then
the con heads on the podcast.
well, I love Constance when he was in fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off, so he's always gonna. But
uh
he yeah, I mean, you feel bad for the dude, man. I know he's not a perfect person, and he is what he is, but you feel bad for him. Like Logan's such a piece of shit that he can't even go to his son's wedding. That was a that was a shitty move, and all he cares about is business. But even after the fact, when he says, "Man, he didn't even like me," and then he goes, and then he changes his tone a little bit. He's like, "Oh yeah, but I really never did anything to kind of make him proud of me." Basically, is what he said.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel for Connor, poor guy. Even on his wedding day, he's getting screwed. But you know, I do love Connor, and hopefully this propels him. Maybe the little sympathy figure, and he vaults over the 1% in his presidential race.
He's coming for 2%.
I would
But
love it.
but I think too, like
well,
I know
wait,
go ahead.
sorry, just really quick, because that is the point that I wanted to bring up in the like weeks ahead, is like, and it makes sense, like this is a going to be a global, this is my own interpretation, I'm not giving away exactly what they said, but this is going to be a global event, Logan dying. That's going to be juice for Connor in the presidential race.
Yeah, good
So
point.
we'll see what happens, but I'm sorry to interrupt, go ahead.
I forget what I was gonna say. Connor. Let's move on. I forgot.
Sorry, that was my fault
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
as usual. But at least that it wasn't Robbie I interrupted. That's usually who I interrupt.
Benny, I'm used to it. That's week 60, but
Hey,
you get used
it's
you get used to it.
that's what I was gonna say. I'm taking my lumps here.
Hey, this is week like 13 of episodes, so you should be used to it.
I think you just treated me with a little bit more respect than you just did right there, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. So after they talk to Connor, is that when like we said before, is that when the execs, the C-suites start saying, all right, we need to get a message out, because they're not wrong. I mean, I know it's fucked up, but this is a humongous global corporation. It's gonna tank the stock as we see later. Uh, they have to start coming up with a message, and like I think you said, Benny, like maybe jockeying for position or whatever, kind of getting their chess pieces in place. And this is also where we saw Joker Carey.
Robbie, as our resident bangs expert,
Yeah, that's right.
what did you think of Carrie coming in?
Oh my God, that like you talk about secondhand embarrassment. That was unreal, dude. I couldn't. I don't know, man. She's such a good actress. The way she even last week when she was awkward, I was so fucking taken aback by. I know she was in shock. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if she saw Logan, die or what led up to him dying, but her just coming in there and being like, "Oh wow, that was crazy, right?" And
Yeah.
then everybody just reacting. And I don't even want you guys to talk about it, but I didn't. The hardest I laughed in this episode is when she leaves and Tom does his like what the fuck face. I was dying laughing when he did that, dude.
That was
Yeah.
funny. Do you
Ryan, why don't
think?
you go ahead?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys think? I don't know. I'm not sure, but do you think that she was like smiling and awkward because A, she was in shock, B, and she might have been in shock with all these options, but B, because she saw him die, she was in the bathroom with him, who knows doing what. C, was happy that he died because she knows she's about to get a bunch of money because he put her in his will. Or D, happy because now she doesn't have to do all his fucking dirty work anymore and gets to like live her own life for once. Do any of those
So,
options seems plausible?
so the point I was going to make is with fall in line under A.
Okay.
And I think they did a good job foreshadowing this. Maybe not, but they all made such a big point of making fun of her smiling in the
Right.
audition tape when she was talking about like the
Like
kids dying
horrible
or
things.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just like the unintentional response she has to fucked up things.
Could be.
Like she's just one of those people that like laughs in the middle of a funeral or like
Right.
someone does something fucked up to her and she just short circuits and starts laughing. So
Right.
I think maybe that was it. Could there be something, under the surface there that she's in the will or he left her part of the company? I definitely think that's still in play, but that's kind of when I thought about it, I was like, maybe that's just the kind of character she is where, she just busts out laughing at the worst times.
Could be. Could be.
My sister, Michelle texted me. She goes, "Do you think Carrie poisoned Logan?" I said, "All right, this isn't the fuck game."
Oh,
I said, "This isn't Game of Thrones."
She
I
switched
like
his heart
that
meds.
theory.
Yeah, I do like a nice poison theory as a
Yeah,
resident
she she
poison
definitely as your
expert.
resident what poison expert.
Yeah,
I mean, she could have very easily like given him the wrong medicine or did not give him medicine or whatever. I mean, that's potentially on the table if she stood to inherit a bunch of money. I don't know. Or like maybe she was sick of blowing him or something. Who knows? But I
yeah, that
think
ring.
we are getting into some Thrones territory here.
You know
Yeah,
what though? I want to bring up just really quick, spend 30 seconds on this. Was she his assistant when he didn't get his medicine for the UTI in that episode when they were giving the speech or whatever? They were at
I
that conference.
I believe she was, but was absent for some reason at that time.
Oh, right. The handoff of pills or whatever didn't happen.
Wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't Colin supposed to give it to him or something?
I think so. Yeah, they were confused as to who was supposed to give him the medicine. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I think that's why like it was almost like after that she like took full control of like his pills. Like maybe that was like during the handoff of like when whatever his wife's name when she was involved and then she was just like no longer around. I think right after that is when Kerry kind of like took almost full control of him and his
Yeah.
Marsha. Hopefully, somebody alerted her in her shopping spree in Milan.
yeah.
She better be hitting that credit card a couple more times before the thing gets cut off.
She better be
Yeah,
going
right.
Louis Vuitton. swiping.
Do you think she shows up for the funeral?
Oh, for sure. Because she's
Yeah.
gonna have some say in the company, I'm sure.
Yeah, if they're
I think
still
she's on the
legally
board.
married.
Yeah, I think she's on the board.
Wow. Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, wasn't that like part of the like separation agreement or some shit?
Yeah.
Something. I don't know. I'm sure the mom will probably be involved too.
Oh, that fucking annoying bastard.
I loved, did we didn't mention this because I think it already like passed, but remember Shiv was like, I hoped it was mom.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little bit later. I think it's after the next part where
You might be
they
right.
ask if Carrie should be involved in the rollout of the message, and Carl calls her Chuckles the Clown.
Yeah.
And then we get Tom calling Greg.
Yes.
Ryan,
Um,
what'd you think about that scene with Tom?
I mean, I'm dying to know what's in the logistics folder. And I'm also dying to know if Greg is gonna, you know, be a slime ball again and make a little flash drive copy of it and hold it over Tom's head. I don't know. I guess it depends on what's in there. Like logistics, I'm thinking could mean like, all right, so he kind of thinks that eventually Sid is gonna get fired, and this is my like plan after that happens. So he might want that deleted because at this point, Sid's probably not getting fired and he doesn't want to, cause a rift or because he doesn't have his defender anymore. Or it's like some wild shit like the cruise stuff and we may or may not find out what's in there. I don't know. Robbie, what did you think?
I think that first off, another amazingly acted scene by Matthew McFadden. I think that was just beautifully done. Obviously shitting on Greg, but I just, I don't know, man. I think Greg 100% leaked Logan's death to that chick at the
Probably.
that he was talking to. I just think that he is dumb and stupid, but I 100% think he's gonna save a copy of the quote unquote logistics folder in the shared drive and hold it up against Tom. I just think so. I think I feel like he's done getting shitted on by Tom. I understand it, but I feel like that's something he can just hold up against Tom now as well. I think he's stupid, but I mean he sees the way this game is played and
Hmm.
he can hold it up against him. So I do think he's gonna you know save a copy of that.
And I think he might want to like maybe fuck with the company a little bit because like the kids have like made comments to him before, but like they were like exceptionally mean to him earlier in this episode. Like what did they basically said like leave us alone, you leech or something, right?
Yeah, don't touch Shiv says don't touch me.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, sure.
yeah, yeah.
Or what about his
Yeah.
his uncle now? Is he gonna have a say?
Whose
I'm
uncle?
sure.
Greg's
Greg, Greg's
Oh, his
grandpa.
grandpa?
Greg's grandpa. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably. I mean, who knows? And also, did was it Roman that said something like to him, like he likes to take his dick out or something like that?
Yeah, see who notices,
Yeah, pot.
even though it would be at everybody's eye level.
Yeah.
What is it?
Um,
Pot calling kettle?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
um, yeah, I thought this was such like a good scene from Tom, like the emotion he had, like even when he tries to shit on Greg, like his heart almost wasn't in it. Like
Yeah.
he makes that comment. I actually kind of want to bring in our DM slides that we had this week. We had a couple DM slides, and one of
Really?
them pertains to the scene. Yeah. Um. So Pat, last name redacted, my boy in Nebraska,
Nice.
said, "What was Tom talking about with Greg and the bottom of his stocking?" So this is what I'm talking about. I think that when Greg and Tom are having that conversation,
Hmm.
he's like fucking with Greg, but he's so out of it that he just like trying to, you know, tease him, but he just doesn't have it in him at this point.
I don't know.
What did you guys think about that?
I think he was kind of being like, yeah, like he was kind of the joke wasn't great or like the metaphor wasn't great, but I think he was kind of being serious, saying like, Greg, like, Connor, Logan didn't like you. He's out of the picture now. This could be a good thing for you if you don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
So that's the way I read it. Like, what's this gift that you just received? But it could blow up in your face. Who knows?
Yeah.
Robbie.
So we have. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
No, I just think that, yeah, I think Tom's looking for some allies now. And I think that he always knows he has Greg in his back pocket. And yeah, I agree with what you said, Ryan. I think he's just looking for somebody to latch on to as well. But Benny, as our resident IT expert, please tell us how would one get rid of a quote unquote logistics file, or maybe even make a copy and save it somewhere?
Well, if you have a competent IT department, even if you delete that from the trash,
Yep, still there.
and somebody wants to go back in time on your computer, if you're a competent IT team and a very secure team, your computer caches backups, and you could probably go back a few days.
Yep.
However, I don't think anything in that folder is necessarily incriminating. So I don't know if they would have the legal want to do that. I think it's just kind of hiding it from Sid. So while I appreciate the thought process, and you're right that just deleting it, just don't do anything on your work computer that you don't want found out, because if
Yeah.
they need to find it, they will find it.
Yep.
PSA.
This is why you're the fucking star of the show, right then and there. So thank you. Thanks everybody. See, now everybody's gonna commit a couple of crimes and they're gonna come back to this and we'll be incriminated.
Yeah, so that it always skews me out when people are logged into their messages app
Oh my
on their work
God.
computer. I'm like, I
Yeah.
get you want the ease of having your text messages on your work computer, but
No,
my guy,
wrong.
do not do that ever.
I know plenty of
Um,
people that use their work computer and work phone as their personal devices, and that is fucking stupid.
yeah, and you think, hey, I'm not doing anything stupid, but
Mhm.
No,
you never know.
You never
You
know.
never know. You send out a dick pic to Jerry, that shit's in the cloud.
That is true.
So I do want to do a couple. We have two more DM slides before we kind of. I feel like it's a good time to take a little break.
Yeah.
So my friend Josh, last name redacted, he said that this episode was artfully done. I kept thinking the entire time that this is another game. Logan is going to be sitting in the corner listening, and then you see the top of his head and nose, and it's fucking real. Gold medal level episode. I agree. And then we had one more DM slide. And pull it up here from Katie Ann, last name redacted, mother of children. She said she said in all separate messages, so many tears. Okay, bye.
Uh,
So thank you guys for reaching out in our DMs and our emails. Please continue to do that. We went through a whole nother beginning of the episode without mentioning our email and
Holy
our
shit.
and our Instagram. So if you do want to get involved in the conversation, our email is ltbwpodcast@gmail.com. Our Instagram is let the boys watch pod. DM us, email us if you want to be part of the conversation, or if you want to join us on one of the episodes.
Want to be part of the Conhead conversation?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. I think the Conhead's gonna be eating right towards the end of the season. So
I think you're
get
right.
on the train now.
Yeah.
Should I like in post, should I just like insert me saying, don't forget to email us?
You know what I should do? I mean, now that we have fancy new theme music, I
Yeah.
should just put the email
Oh.
the email address and the Instagram handle in the theme song.
Son of a bitch, the whole day I was like, all right, don't forget to mention Benny's new intro music at the beginning of the show, and I fucking forgot. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
shout out to the cuz. That was amazing, amazingly done.
Yeah.
Really,
Thank you,
really
guys.
great stuff.
Thank you. I was bopping it all day in my apartment.
It's great. It's fucking awesome.
Benny, if you were a DJ, what would your name be?
DJ Squiggles.
Uh,
Oh, that's Logan. That's Kendall's DJ. Sorry.
How about
I would
resident DJ expert?
I would go DJ Mr. Met.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
So where are we now?
So we just finished Tom and Greg's phone call, and we're getting into now it's real.
Right.
He's dead, and we're gonna start getting into the corporate reaction to this and how they're gonna handle it.
Yes. And was this just now, or was this when Jerry went into the kids and was just like, whatever you need. Same with like Hugo. Is that when this is happening?
Yeah, so Hugo pops in,
Yeah.
and lets them
They're
know
kind
that
of
they're gonna
dicks to him.
yeah, that Hugo lets them know that they're drafting up a statement.
Yes.
Um, and what do they want to do about it? And he's going to be the liaison between them, um, and the plane crew. And then he loops in Jerry.
Right. Correct. Um, and while this is happening on the plane, like we said before, they're starting to kind of put a couple pieces together, or as they say, the bones. They're putting the bones together of a messaging, a response, whatever. Um, I think, the kids obviously want the messaging to come from them, and I understand that, but I also understand all the execs in the air, like they need to fucking be part of this because it's it's not their company, but it's their company. They're in, those positions of power. It makes sense. And I just had a quick thought. Uh, I'm going off track here, but all the Greglets that are in the plane?
Yeah.
You think maybe one of them leaked it?
Oh, I forgot to mention this. 100% it was Greg.
It was Greg, not the Greglets.
100%. I think that's why they the mini Gregs, maybe not fully. Yeah, I'm sure if they're on the plane they know what's going on, but I don't know if they all got that 5G in the sky plan that Tom has on his phone.
Oh, true.
um, but I think that's why they cut that conversation off with Greg and the reporter when they did,
Yeah, true. You're right.
because he's dumb enough to like, if it is to be said, so it be, so it is, his way around trying to get out of that situation with her, where he says something that kind of like lets it slip that
Yeah.
Logan's either sick or not doing great in the moment, and that's where they kind of start to run with the story.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Sorry for that derailment. But yeah, so clearly the kids want to have the messaging go out. Jerry comes in and they kind of, talk to her, and they're very, I don't know, they're very resistant to having the messaging come out from the executives. And during all this time, we kind of didn't really talk about this, but they're kind of going through it, like going through different stages. Like Roman's continually like saying, do we really know? Do we really know? And Kendall, we said it before, Kendall is like, of course shocked, but like is slowly drifting towards, all right, we gotta fucking do the right thing here. And Shiv is a mess. So what'd you guys think of like this whole dynamic of the kids almost versus the executives?
Yeah, I think when Hugo lets them know that they're going to start drafting a statement, um, Kendall goes into businessman mode.
Yeah.
And although we all know that they are not killers, they are not the savviest business people, and they're definitely not half as savvy as they think that they are, Kendall is probably the most competent.
Right.
Um, and he's always taken it seriously. Shiv was always off doing her own thing. Roman was kind of in like the lower levels of the company. Kendall was always kind of probably in that room with Logan. So he understands, while he understands that like this is a fucked up situation, he understands the ramifications this is going to have on the company.
Right.
And he kind of starts taking the lead as far as, that speech he has with, this is always going to be what we did the day our father died. And even something as small as like, let's get our heads together for 30 minutes is going to come off as some cold calculating move by the time it gets out to the public.
Right. Robbie.
No, I agree. I agree with what Benny said. Yeah, Candle's the one that takes charge and kind of sees what the future is going to be like, so he wants to get out in front of it. Roman is obviously still in denial, thinking, that his dad is still alive, and Shiv, like Benny said, is a complete mess. So, you know, in this moment, Kendall has, you know, that it factor for, trying to take over and make sure everything gets out the right way. Because, like you said, even though Logan is dead, this is still a fucking global company with tons of things hanging in the balance, like a sale with Gojo and stock market and the marketplace and all these things. And, you know, Frank and those guys obviously want their names to be on the letter for their own purposes. But I do think that Kendall takes charge, and he even wants to have like a Reagan-esque funeral for a
A
lightly
few
Reagan-esque
tweaks.
funeral. Yeah, just a few tweaks for his old man. But I do want to say something real quick about the quick interaction. I don't know if it happened already between Jerry and Roman,
Yes.
when Roman kind of breaks down and is a little bit vulnerable to Jerry, and he just like, I'm sad.
Mhm.
And she's like, okay, goodbye, and then walks out. So that was a tough scene for Roman, because when he tries to, this is the best he knows, right? This is what he knows, as he's a little boy, sometimes trapped in a man's body.
Right.
His emotions and his trauma, and him being fucking hit by his dad and all these things. And so, I mean, I felt so bad for Roman in that scene. And I don't even know if we get to the point where they're talking about how fucked they are. They go on, like, each of them like kind of rip each other quickly. It's like, well, you're not going to be okay. And then
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Kendall took charge, obviously. But that scene with Jerry and Roman kind of got to me.
Yeah. And one quick thing I want to say about Roman is, did you guys notice the various awkward hugs he gave a few people?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
like hugged Connor weird. He hugged Shiv weird. He wanted to hug Jerry. I don't know if he gave any other awkward hugs, but that stuck out to me. Like what a great acting performance by him and everyone else.
As the resident awkward person on the podcast, I will say I definitely felt all those awkward hugs because I've given awkward hugs. I've given awkward kisses on the cheek in my life. And I definitely felt those awkwardness moments. But I do love it when I watched it back, the when he grabs Connor's arm. I
Yes.
didn't notice it the first time. Connor does kind of like lean in and hug him. So I don't know exactly what he was going for with the, I don't know if he was trying to give him an Irish whip, but it was nice to see Connor reciprocate that hug.
Right. Agree. Um, so they start, kind of getting the messaging together. They say that they want it to come from the kids. Um, and this whole time, the plane's heading back to Teterboro. We don't want to skip over Kendall's call to Jess, um, who he basically he's just throwing everything out there. Like we need the best doctors, the best airplane doctors.
Yeah,
Like
the best airplane medicine expert.
but they get to, Teterboro. Well, they get off the boat. They have a boat come get them. Um, I think right around this time is when Connor has that scene with Willa,
Hmm.
and he, basically this is when we talked about before, like he kind of, realizes what's going on and gets sad, but he's talking to Willa and he's like, is it like, do you want to be with me? Like, I'm always scared that you're gonna leave. Is this about the money? And I think to her credit, like Willa probably at first was like gonna just like no, but she's honest with him and she's like, yeah, like it's a little bit about that, but
Yeah.
I do want to be with you. And it seems like I don't know if this happened here or maybe a little later, but they go through with the wedding. Then there's like 8 people there.
Yeah. I thought it was, I mean, we've gotten so much in so little time from Connor in these last couple episodes. Like that
Yeah.
ending to his story is almost like, you know, we should cancel. And he's almost like, you know what? I've always had this weight around my shoulders, even if he doesn't want to admit it, about his father,
Yeah.
that he just kind of almost lets go. And he's like, you know what? This would make me happy to get married. And, he probably didn't have all the bells and whistles that he would have had to kind of drum up that attention. But he actually kind of seems like they had like a nice, sweet ceremony.
Yeah.
And they kind of got as much of a happy ending to this episode as you could probably have.
Yeah. Agree. I think we might be three con heads on this episode
There it
after
is.
the past two, we'll say.
There it is.
Yeah.
And
If you
even
get that guy on a debate stage, I might be a full on con head.
it looks like it's coming.
I think you might be right. So they all get to Teterboro, plane lands. The kids get helicoptered in, and they give a quick, short message to the press. I'm curious to see if what Shiv said as they were walking out, will dictate anything in the future, or maybe even dictate the messaging of the media, like where we intend to be involved, kind of thing. What'd you guys think of this scene here at the airport?
I thought it was, I mean, as good of a statement as they could probably have in that moment. I think she
Right.
did a good job delivering it. I
Yeah.
think, um, I like Robbie mentioned that scene or that little, snippet of Roman and Kendall at least getting a little bit back to normal there, where they're like, "Yeah, we'll be okay,"
Yeah.
and then Kendall's like, "Well, not you. Like, you're not gonna be okay," and they go back and forth a little bit there. That was, one of the few kind of jokier moments we had in the episode.
Yeah.
Um, then they share that hug outside, and I thought it was interesting too, where they all kind of pick a different way.
Yeah. Go their separate
to-
ways.
yeah, like Shiv just leaves. Kendall decides he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to go see the body, but he wants to watch from afar. And
Right.
Roman, goes in to see the body.
Do you think that Shiv and Tom are getting back together, like I said a few episodes ago?
I don't know, man. I really feel like the rift between them is so deep that I'm kind of the type of person that thinks when a woman does not want to be with you anymore, like she has made that decision, and
Right.
they they have a way where they handle emotions better, and if they've decided that you're not the right person for them, they stick to their guns. And I think she was so done with Tom that, aside from there being some crazy business reason for them to team up,
Mm-hmm.
that she's done with him.
I mean, they left together. Maybe for the optics.
The optics, I think she just needs somebody in that moment,
Someone. Yeah. I don't
because
know.
she went and hugged him, and it wasn't the most warm embrace.
No.
She does lean her head on his chest, and she's happy that he's there, I feel. But I think in that moment they can share that grief, and Tom feels bad for her in that moment. So I think it's just him being there for her. I don't know if that's necessarily something to bring them back together.
Right. Robbie, what'd you think about the airport scene?
I thought it was great. I mean, Shiv, I don't know if there's any ramifications of Shiv not mentioning, Carl Frank and those guys. I don't know if that's anything. Uh, I did want to say something about the whole Connor thing. Even when he was talking to Willa and he was, you know, scared and uncertain of her answer, he's like, my dad's dead and I feel old. So I
Yeah.
mean, I just thought again, Connor's gotten some great stuff this season. So and I'm excited to see where he goes for the remainder of the show. But yeah, I thought it was this scene was great. Sorry, as I fucking continue my streak of Joe DiMaggio streak of burping on podcasts.
The Iron
But
Horse.
yeah. But yeah, piggybacking again, I'll use that word again. I don't see Ship getting back with Tom at all. I did watch
We'll see.
all right, well, whatever, what can you do?
I am the
Um I,
contrarian on this podcast as our resident contrarian expert.
yeah, I think that she's done. But I thought it was great. I don't know, Kendall's reason for not going on the plane to see the body. Roman going on there, I think, is fitting. I think Roman is the most, I guess, emotionally mature character out of the three of them, and that's saying something. But
I don't know.
I thought it
After
was
this episode, I don't know. I mean, you're probably right, but it's just like in this episode, I fell out of the three of them. It was Kendall, but it maybe wasn't emotional maturity, it was business maturity. Like
I,
we gotta do shit.
I definitely want Robbie. I want you to finish your point, but
Yeah, sorry.
I think a main theme of this episode was showing you how everybody deals with grief and deals
Yes.
with those situations differently, and they did such a good job. Me personally, if if somebody I love is in the hospital, it like tears me apart to go to see them in the hospital. Like I can't do it. I don't like going to wakes. I don't like going to funerals. It's just too much for me. And I think that's what you're kind of seeing with Shiv, where she just wants to just like detach from it and walk away and leave. And that's just how I feel. But go ahead, Robbie.
I think I forgot what I was gonna say, but basically that was really
Well,
I
you were
don't have
saying
any.
that Roman was the
Roman
most,
was the most emotionally mature.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that, but I agree with you, Brian. But I think it's not Kendall being emotionally mature; it's Kendall being more business savvy or understanding the
Right.
situation as well.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
right. He probably is using that to not process.
yeah, and then finally at the end, he kind of does process when he sees the body being brought off and into the ambulance,
Yeah.
and we end the scene, the episode with the camera posted on his face. But
Yep. His
yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it
I
stupid
was
was.
face.
that last shot of Kendall, like almost like letting go. I almost feel like part of him was trying to be the strong one in this
Yeah.
situation for all of them. And he finally has that moment to himself, and he sees the body go into the ambulance and Roman walking away. And he's like finally alone where
Right.
he doesn't think anybody's watching, and he kind of lets go a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. One other thing I want to mention about the airport scene is I loved seeing Colin there looking like a lost puppy. Had no idea what to do.
This is why, man, when I say that the show, like with the directing and the writing, they can do so much with like 5 seconds,
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
you see Colin in that, he's like looking, he's like a dog that doesn't know where his owner is,
Right.
and he thinks he's never coming back, he's never coming back again, but he's just like lost in that 5 second clip where you're like, oh, Colin. You're like, you don't
I
care about
know.
Colin,
yeah,
besides from, that one conversation he had with Logan, like you don't give a fuck about Colin at all. And you
Right.
feel so bad for him in that moment.
I know. My thought was he's the type of guy that's gonna just show up to the office building tomorrow and just like be like, all right, what do you need me to do? I'm here for work.
Yeah. He's just gonna stand outside Logan's office.
Yeah.
He's
Protect
gonna
me.
guard the casket at the funeral.
Yeah. He said he was my best pal. So is there anything else that we need to say about this episode that we missed or other?
I don't think so. It's just one of the best episodes I've watched in a very long time.
Fair?
Yeah, I to me it's up there with, those some of those final episodes of Breaking Bad where they were just so heavy. There's so many loose ends getting tied up, and it's just edge of your seat, like what the hell's going to happen next. You're holding your breath. I said it all before, but it's worth repeating. It's just such a great episode.
Yeah. And there's still 7 episodes left.
Yeah.
That's why I
Crazy.
love that. That's why I love that Breaking Bad. Just tie up the fucking loose ends. That's all I care about. Just be aware, be self-aware of things that you've shown the audience that some people are invested in, and some people aren't invested in. But just tie up the loose strings. It's so important and so vital to an ending of a series.
I know. It does. It pisses me off when shows do that. I mean, we reference Game of Thrones all the time, but like,
Yeah.
Benny, where's fucking Quaith?
Who knows? Who
Wherever
knows?
whores go.
Yeah. I think too, like I said, we mentioned in the preview episode the rumors that came out about how they didn't know it was the last season, and I
Right.
was kind of a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
With is it gonna like he dies one episode to tie it up, and then it's just kind of over,
Yep.
not necessarily open ended, but like you kind of let your mind figure it out, like
Yep.
how things play out. I'm like on board with this being the final season now. Like they have so much time in these last 7 episodes where I don't think there's always those middle of the season episodes in seasons where it's like, not much happened.
Yeah, filler episode.
But like, what can necessarily be filler at this point? So I really have a lot of confidence in them being able to, no pun intended, land the plane on these last 7 episodes.
We shall see. Um, so should we get to America's favorite game?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start with shit show at the fuck factory of the week. Who was the biggest loser of the week in succession? Who started last week? I don't even remember.
I think you start.
I start this week or Rob?
Yeah.
No, because I took Kerry first last week.
Oh shit. All right. Oh, so then I'll start. Biggest loser of the week is Logan because he's dead.
Hey, sometimes less is more when it comes to this game. I'm gonna go with Tom as the biggest loser this week. I feel like
Whoa.
That was my choice. Good one.
yeah, I feel like so I'm gonna expound a little bit, give you a little time to figure out who you're gonna pick now.
Yeah, please, because I'm scrambling in my head right now.
I feel like that phone call with I think it was a lot of trauma for him to be on the phone with the kids and see the guy die in front of him, basically getting chest compressions and all that stuff. But I think he's very much lost right now. He doesn't know who's protecting him, who's in his corner. Is he going to have a job? Is he going to get demoted? Is he going to get fired? So as far as anybody who lost this week, besides losing a parent, I think Tom, business wise, is the biggest loser this week and is the shit show at the fuck factory. Winner or loser for me this week?
Nice. Quick
Fantastic choice.
tidbit. Mark Mylod, who directed this episode, also directed Shit Show at the Fuck Factory from season 1. So how about that?
See, there it is. They bring out the heavy hitters.
Yeah. Robbie, who's your shit show at the Fuck Factory this week?
Oh, my shit show at the fuck factor this week is I mean, I have to scramble because Benny took Tom. I didn't think he was going to, but I forgot I forget sometimes how smart he is.
You're so sweet.
My shit show at the fuck factor this week, my loser of the week is airplane doctors.
No, they have a service.
Oh yeah. So I guess it'd be too much to have airplane doctors that on every flight. So I understand where it's coming from, but you should always have an airplane doctor on a flight where there's an 80+ year old man who, has a lot of terrible medical conditions. He has the ability and the money to front an airline doctor. So I think Logan was at fault for not having an airline doctor on the plane. I think it's probably one of the reasons why he is no longer with us. I would like, oh, first of all, I would like to stop fucking burping every 5 minutes.
Gut
Yeah,
juice.
I would like to see more. Yeah, the gut juice, a fucking waste of money.
Are you still
Yeah,
drinking that shit?
yeah. As you can see, it's not helping because I'm regurgitating the innards and the gizzards in my belly. So, yeah. So quickly ending it here. My loser of the week, airline doctors. Where were you when the big man was getting his dolls blown off by Kerry, and he had the old heart attack? So, airline doctors, wake the fuck up.
Nice. Great choices, everybody. We're gonna change our winner of the week award to the Logan Roy Memorial Serious Person of the Week award. And since this is a snake draft, Robbie, please take it away for us.
Well, my Logan Roy Memorial Fund winner of the week is nobody that appeared on camera this week.
Oh boy.
My winner of the week is, I don't know his first name, but Mr. Matson is my Logan Roy Memorial winner of the week this week. I
Nice.
think, I think, as Logan would say, he has the juice now, or as I think Omar Epps would say, or in juice, you have the juice now. So, um, I'm gonna go with Matson. I'm gonna go a little different pick for me. I think now, as we see in the upcoming weeks, trailer, that he's meeting with all the kids. So everybody's gonna try and jockey for position. And I think that he's in the driver's seat now that Logan is no longer with us. I think he has the upper hand on the kids. And I think now he is obviously a pivotal piece in the remainder of this season and this series. And I think that, you know, Matson is one of my, well, not one of my, is the winner of the week for me. Maybe a shitty pick and a dumb pick, but I struggled to pick a winner this week because I'm still grieving the death of L to the OG. Dude be the OG, and he playing.
um, this was hard to pick a winner this week, but if you listened closely earlier, I tipped my hand.
Yep.
Last week I said that these two were my losers of the week, but my Logan Roy Memorial Serious Person of the week is a tie between Jerry and Sid. They
Nice.
were as out you could be. You had Tom fake shooting Sid in the head. You had Roman awkwardly firing Jerry. And all that goes away because the man who was going to do the deed is no longer with us. So, they were about to get pushed off the cliff and they are still here. They're back, baby.
Good choice. Good choices. It's Lucas Matson.
Thank you,
Yes.
Robbie?
Lucas.
I didn't want to interrupt you before because I
No.
do it too often.
Alexander Skarsgård, whatever his name is. Congratulations.
Skarsgård, yeah, that whole Skarsgård family is just all over Hollywood.
Well, his dad did get the Fields Medal, so
Really?
he no, well, the guy he played in Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah, right. If you want it, I'll give it to you. So my Logan Roy Memorial Serious Person of the Week is Logan because he's dead.
Finally, the weight is off his shoulders.
Finally, he can have the succession that he wanted so bad.
He could fuck off in peace.
Yeah.
Yep, finally. No, great choices, everybody. Love it. And I don't know. Is there anything else we need to say?
I did want to say something. Shit, I forgot.
Should we bring up Greg or do we not care at this point?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some allegations about Nicholas Braun out there. Not really the place for us to discuss them. Most likely, we're keeping an eye on them. Obviously, we take it seriously and we hope that it's not true, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll see. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but you never know. The people in real life are creeps, and we're just reviewing a show. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much wraps it up for a great episode, both of Succession and of Let the Boys Watch. We didn't do
Well,
it
before we go, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry
Go
to cut
ahead.
you off.
No, go ahead.
We'll do what we've done the previous two episodes.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you said that it was 7.8 plums out of 10. How do you feel now that we've spoken about it for an ungodly amount of time?
Oh my God. I can't believe anyone's gonna listen to this. I'm still at the same, I think I'm still at the same arena, like 7.8-ish. But I think my opinion of this episode could rise with the rest of the series as a whole if they really stick the next 7 episodes. Because I mean, I like the show, but I don't love it as much as you guys do. But we'll see. They could really elevate this show if they really kill it. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
So I'm still at 7.8 plums. I feel it in my plums.
I was gonna work that into the theme
new
song.
intro.
I think when we stop doing Succession, I'm going to take the L to the OG part out
Okay.
and maybe throw in the plums at the end of the intro. So we'll see.
Love it. And actually, my Logan Roy Memorial Serious Person of the Week award goes to Benny for the new intro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And my
Great
shit show of the fuck factor of the week is myself for not mentioning it at the top of the episode.
Nah, baby, the intro is going to speak for itself.
Yeah.
I think what I might do is like let the beginning part play and have a little bit, and then we'll start talking, and then play it in completion at the very end.
Yeah. So my thought, I mean, this is inside baseball for all you fans out there,
Yeah.
was after the last words of Kendall, as it's fading out, we start the show and it fades out behind Robbie's intro.
So, all right, I'll have to listen to it where Kendall is. I'm just thinking because it's like a minute long.
Yeah.
That might be a little too long as an intro, but I mean, if you guys want the whole thing at the beginning, I don't care. That's up to you.
We'll see how it plays, babe.
I'll see what it sounds like. I just think like a super long intro is like, I don't know. It's like, come on, let's get to the show. But that's me. You guys don't skip the intro for this show. I skip this fucking intro all the time.
Yeah, you're an intro skipper.
Yeah, we never skip.
Be a better song and I won't skip it.
Your takes
hurts.
your takes really chat my ass. I'll tell you that right now.
I thought we were good partners, Robbie.
I know, I love it.
All right. So thank you so much for listening. Email us, follow us on Instagram, rate, review. 5 stars would be helpful. We appreciate it. We love you. Robbie, tell him good night.
There's only one good night. That's good night. Rest in power, King. Rest in power to the God, Logan Roy. I hope there's a lot of fuck offs in the sky for you.
Heart to the IP.
Dude be DIE.